From some smoke. Doesn't get prettier than that.
I don't remember it.
And a one-hand effort by Harris. Harris stabs it.
Welcome one, welcome all. We have another college football slate ahead of us here. And last week was actually a really good week. I know, Bruce, the cheapies didn't exactly come through at wide receiver, but those stacks that we talked about, especially Eric McAllister, who you were very high on, ended up just nuking the slate. What was it, a 50 piece? And I got news again. Every damn time we run that contest, Big T, of guess the highest score in the comments, we are 0 for 5 to start the season. No one has guessed it. There's plenty of guesses that come in, but no one guessed Eric McAllister last week. And
it's crazy. No one picked him though, because we talked him up a decent amount.
I mean, people were going Josh Hoover. I will say the 50 ball was crazy. It's
college though. Stuff happens like this in college football. Like people just nuke at times.
We're running it back.
Makes it fun.
We're running it back, all right? In the show comments, not the live show chat. So anyone rewatching it, you can just put it right down in the comments. The tiebreaker is whoever posted that player first, right? So if multiple people guess Sawyer Robertson, it would go to the first person. Big T will decide what to give away. But again, put that in the comments. Who do you think is going to be the highest score? We're trying to give stuff away. Give us a reason for that. But Bruce, how are you doing, my man? Great week last week.
Doing great. Maybe we should save up the weekly gifts like the skins game and kind of give them away to the whoever wins it finally, like a big jackpot.
5 bets, one game worn.
It'd be great. We had a pretty solid week. Especially McAllister coming through for us. Any lineups with Dwyer or Morton. I had McAllister with Morton, and I was dead pretty early. I know he just was terrible. I'm glad. I hate to see him injured, but I'm glad maybe they'll start playing this other quarterback because he's just so much better. But yeah, looking forward to the great week. Solid games tonight and tomorrow, and then all week. It's gonna be a fun weekend.
100%. We got some questions about the 3-gamer tonight. No 3-gamer talk on this show. Plenty of content up on the site. Bruce will have a full playbook, cores, and much more, as well as the Discord, which, again, if anyone hasn't been in that Discord, the news is invaluable. Just getting that news last week on Morton's injury, and then you can kind of get some really good odds on, certain quarterbacks, anytime touchdowns. The running back who didn't play last week, last Friday's slate, was that the Oklahoma State game or something like that? Mm-hmm. The backup who didn't score was insane odds. It was just, I was so tilted by that. That was actually something I was able to full shove on. And obviously we didn't run very pure, even though he ran for over 100 yards, man. It was pretty good to get that news. That's the type of edges that you can get when you're in the Discord. Big T, I know that a great week last week. Lots of run pure logos up top too. How'd you do?
Yeah, we had two of our main people as far as members. The man won the 50K. I think it was the 333 or whatever it was, and the Cake Boss King or whatever his name is on DraftKings took down the main tournament for 50K. So 2 Run Pure members, 50K. Always love that. I was just a little off on a few. We had those combos, but like Bruce said, like all my McAllisters, like I would have Dwyer in for the double stack, or I'd have a different quarterback, or I had a good week. And it was one of those weeks too that was almost satisfying because I missed on like every team, but I also had guys like McAllister in different plays that went off to where the good thing about SaberSim, I talked about this on another show too. When you get in there and you differentiate a decent amount, yeah, you still have to hit the combo to take the whole thing down. And I wouldn't have taken it down no matter what, because Cake Boss freaking had the absolute stone cold. So, like, no matter what, because a couple of his plays were like 1% guys that I just would have never had. I think he won with a 0. That's even crazier in the main tournament, which shows you just how good his team was. So I was almost happy to I think I literally made like $100 or something, and I felt like really good about it just because I felt like I missed on a decent amount. Like I ended up, what did you call him last week? Dampier, or what did you call him?
Devin Dampier, baby, the French.
I'm going to call him that from now on, actually, because he was terrible last week. And I even said it on the show. I was like, Utah, whenever Utah's in these spots where we like them, they always stink. It's happened for the entire time I've known Bruce. They've never, ever come through. Some of those hunches and just feels, you develop it over time. And I know people make fun of that kind of stuff, but it's the scar tissue. When you see these teams that always let you down, it just happens. I should have, and somehow I ended up getting on him over guys I liked more on the show. That was my biggest regret. I got way too much Dampier, just way too much. But fun week. And I actually, last Friday's slate was absolutely terrible. I forget who it was, but it was horrific. Tonight actually looks pretty good. Tonight we got 3 really good games. Actually, one really good game, two really good games, actually. We're not going to talk about it, but obviously, like Rubio said, get in the Discord. Tons of info will be up there. So, and another fun Saturday. So let's get it. We got Ryder Cup going. I got it on in the background. See if Bryson can get this thing done. But let's get it.
Yes, sir. I was 2 bets I placed. I had Bryson DeChambeau winning that matchup now. So hopefully we can run Pierre to the end here. I know that the Ryder Cup is full on rocking. We'll try and get out of here by 4:30 as well, so we can finish up those last holes of the back 9. And again, just kind of follow up on your point. All the chalk last week was Wallace and Barkay. Barkay ended up doing just fine at 15.5, but it was a guy our guy Cake Boss, absolute great DFS player, had a 0 at 3,700, but then coupled it with that Anderson from North Carolina State, who had 3,400 at 0.63% ownership, had a 38 bomb. And then a guy named Castle for Duke, he literally game stacked that Duke NC State game, who had 30 at 0.8% at 3,100. It was just one of the craziest combos that you'll see. And with a 0, not only winning with a 0, but, still winning by a few points is just more than crazy. So we'll try and do it again this week. And we'll lead off with the Notre Dame and Arkansas game. And I have to say, last week we did get that Love parlay across the line really early. He got over 110 yards there really early on, had 2 touchdowns to start the second half, basically. Lots of great stuff from Notre Dame's offense. But again, that defense, once again, looks very subpar. I mean, maybe Al Golden, it was much, much more of a reason for that defense being successful last year, Bruce. But this year, I look at this game, and if you would have told me 2 weeks ago that it'd have a huge, massive total and Notre Dame would be barely favored, I wouldn't have believed you. But what are you thinking for this one?
Yeah, I think we're a week early on the Purdue offense, and they put up 30 on Notre Dame. They look really good. But it's probably more that Notre Dame defense. This week they have to face Taylon Green, who's not getting a ton of buzz, but I think he should. I think if he doesn't get injured, he could put up a big score here against this defense. It just looks terrible. A lot of it is the interior of their line, but Purdue didn't do much running on them, but Miami did. So maybe Arkansas can run the ball a little bit and open up the pass here. Omega Blake at 6K, didn't come through for us last week, but still getting 9 targets a game almost every time out. And everything good about the Notre Dame offense here. Love could have had 6 touchdowns last week if Price didn't smash as well. So, and he's still under 9K, so he's still in play here. Arkansas defense has just been terrible. Memphis was able to run the football effectively on them. So I like Love and I like Price, and I don't mind playing Green in tournaments with receiver.
Yeah, Green has been absolutely nuking. Then they put up a big score last week. He had over 300 passing yards, but still, just like you almost felt like you needed more from him. But at 9,100 here, if he's not getting much buzz, Big T, I'll go right back to Taylon Green against this Notre Dame defense that's just let Purdue score over 30. That is just absurd to me. And in Arkansas's case, too, this game, they can't stop a damn fly. I mean, they are horrible defensively. The ball getting punched out late. I had Arkansas money line. I'm still salty about that. Getting the ball just punched out inside the 10-yard line with 2 minutes to go. Inexcusable. But Big T, who are you on for this game first off? And then obviously your DFS plays.
Yeah, the Purdue spot was tilting. I think we've been all over spots like that too, where last week we had the Syracuse spot. I mean, I know we talked it up a ton on the show how Clemson just stinks, and it was just a gift in all areas. If that quarterback didn't go down, I mean, they might have nuked even harder. The guy got hurt with middle of the third quarter or something, didn't even play, and they still rolled him up. It's just great spots. Purdue, I watched the whole USC game that night, and I felt like it was like we said. I mean, they threw an interception in the end zone. They threw an interception at like the 10. I mean, it was tilting. They could have done it, but then they come back versus Notre Dame. You have to. I agree with Rubio that you have to like Arkansas in this spot. Notre Dame's defense is really bad, and this has got to be – all those other games were at home, right? This is their first true road, I think. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's their first true road game. If not, it's a really hard spot anyways. You got Taylor Green, who looks amazing this year. I think he's a little underprojected for how good he's looked. Omega Blake looks awesome. Mike Washington's looked awesome at running back. And the nice thing, I think, with a team like this is everything kind of goes through those three. You have other guys that get some bits and pieces, but I like these teams in college that don't have a ton of weapons because you can kind of focus on who to take, like Ole Miss last week. I know those guys here and there, like the chalk receiver, busted pretty hard. But the spot, if you pivoted, it was a good spot. So I like Arkansas. I'm going to struggle a lot more with Notre Dame. Jeremiah Love, it's a road spot. I always bring up our boy Dunkel in these spots, but it's a tough spot for Notre Dame. I know they got 2 losses. They looked pretty good last week. The spread, they're a 4-point favorite here on the road. I kind of like Arkansas, so I have a hard time paying $8,500 for a running back. He does have a high floor. I think I'm getting like 30% of them if I just run it naked in SaberSim, which feels fair. His ownership looks somewhere in there too. Yeah, I don't love Notre Dame in this spot though, and I like Arkansas a decent amount.
Yeah, it should be noted. I mean, that Syracuse call last week was perfection, and it just came completely true right away too. I mean, it was exactly what you were saying, and I'll tell you late on in that game. Just the Clemson offense.
There's some things that like sometimes we get in trouble with takes, but we're more like watch the games, and Bruce is good with the numbers too, but I'm definitely more watch the games. And I'm not saying we're right every time because we're not. I mean, sometimes you get it wrong, but like games like that, I just don't understand. Like they're a 17-point dog as bad as they played. And Syracuse, I think it was a little deceptive because their scores, maybe they gave up some points and stuff. Like when they played UConn, it was kind of a little back and forth. But they were a little underrated too if you watched them. Like they have good players and stuff. And Syracuse and Clemson, I mean, they can't wait to quit on Dabo. Like he's making excuses for everything. It's just a field play, which obviously we like on this show.
Oh, I absolutely like it on the show here. I mean, you guys were right about Jeremiah Love. It may seem like a high price tag, but there is a complete difference from last week. The wide receivers aren't 3K anymore, right? So you're going to have to make some tough decisions at the stud running back position if you do want a stud running back. Obviously, you said you were getting a lot of love just purely off the numbers by projected score, which makes a lot of sense. CJ Carr has shown more with his legs than I would have thought coming into the season. But yeah, this does feel like, Bruce, if you're saying that no one's going to be on like Taylor Green all that much, I think I might gladly bite that bullet. And if you were to really kind of zoom out, if I were to unfilter all these games and using your projections and stuff, he's like the 4th highest quarterback, and he's still the cheapest of those 4 too, just in terms of projection. So, oh wait, I wasn't sorting it right. Yeah, he's still the 7th highest projected quarterback, and that is something where we've already seen the upside numerous times already this season, 40 plus. I think I might dance with the devil there a little bit. All right, we'll move on to, oh boy, my favorite, Cincinnati taking on Kansas here, a Big 12 affair. Sorsby, who can't throw the ball at all, but hey, I can expect to see him run that ball about 12 to 15 times in this game. You got Tylee Walker as well, along with Evan Pryor splitting the backfield duties there in Cincinnati. Jalen Daniels, I mean, you talk about a DFS legend at this point. He's got to be a senior. I mean, when's the last time we had him on a main slate? Was it the week 0 slate or something like that? But Jalen Daniels, we finally get to talk about him once more. Bruce, talk to me about UC and Kansas.
Yeah, this game looks, looks like there probably will be some offense here. I do like Sorsby. I think the Kansas defense is pretty bad. So I think they'll be able to run the football effectively with Sorsby and like Dewey Walker. I know LaShawn Williams is going to be popular for Kansas with Hishaw out. So he's going to be extremely popular. I don't know who's going to get the backup role there, but they'll probably get some carries as well at 3K. So I'll have to research that a little bit more. I think they might be in play, whoever it is, because they love to get 2 backs in there. Emmanuel Henderson at 4,700, not a bad play. I think Jalen Daniels 7,100 will be pretty owned along with Sorsby. So QB spot in this game will be pretty owned. And LaShawn Williams, like I mentioned, he's going to be near 30% owned as well, 3,900 with not a ton of great value on this slate. So I think it's going to be a solid game for offense. It just might be a little bit slower with the run game on both sides, very involved.
Yeah, it's interesting too. You bring it up. I mean, it's tough. They blew out West Virginia, which naturally, after what Pitt lost to them, they get blown out 41-10 by Kansas. It was LaShawn Williams who had the 19 carries. Hishaw went out early with only 2 carries there. Then it was you had Johnny Thompson Jr., who you have the second highest back for Kansas here at Stoneman 3K. I can already see Big T kind of eyeing that type of play there, where you get a Kansas offense that is basically only run 2 backs, even with Devin Neal back then too, which I guess he's only a rookie in the NFL right now, but it felt like longer than that. But they've always run 2 backs, and I got a feeling like LaShawn Williams is going to be obviously extremely chalky, right? At 3,900, he's a great play. But Big T, are you going to be interested in the leverage at 3K here with a guy like Johnny Thompson potentially?
I should be. I look at it, and I always like when I play 2 of the 3K guys. I like to look at the projections around the industry, and I mean, Bruce has him not super high, SaberSim not super high. I don't like it as much as I normally do, but what that means is I have to like LaShawn. He was the dude that first week too, or second week, whatever it was, that was kind of our horse in there that we liked. But it's just a tough spot for me to. I can't swallow that much projection. Usually when it's the 2 running backs, the second guy's still projected for like 10 or something in there. But I don't know. Maybe we get more info from then. Maybe he gets more run, and I could be talked into it by tip off. But this game, I mean, to me, you got a high total. I think Cincinnati stinks. Kansas is at home. Jalen's cheap. I think you almost have to like him. And he's got 2 cheap receivers that I really like. I mean, Cam Pickett looked amazing a couple weeks ago. Henderson's a big-time talent. LaShawn, obviously, we talked about it running back, but I think those plays are all really solid plays, and I honestly think they're all a little underprojected. I feel like all of them could be a little higher in this spot versus a team like Cincinnati. So I'm pretty into the Kansas. And then Cincinnati, this Sorsby, I've tried to make him happen a decent amount. He's another guy on my list that I think just absolutely stinks. I should start a list of some of these guys that I think are horrible.
You didn't see a stat line against the FCS school? Did you not see
I didn't, but I know he sucks. Like
no. 15 of 15, 253 yards, 5 touchdowns.
You could tell me anything, and I know he sucks. Like, he's on the road. Like, you could have told me he had 800 yards, and I would still think he sucks because I've seen it. I've laddered this guy with bats. I've jammed him on. I've played this guy a ton, and obviously, being from Cincinnati, we see it a little more probably than most people. I just think he's really, really bad. The good thing is, though, I will say, circle back, it's a high total, and he's only 6,400. So it tries to wrap me in a little bit more. It's just a gut feel, though, that I just feel like he's a pretty bad play, but the price and projection tell me different. I mean, Bruce has him at 24 points. These projections, are these right in here, Bruce, or are they
green?
Before I start quoting them and stuff, are they the actual ones?
Yeah, the ones that
the ones I just uploaded from Bruce. Bruce sent me that CSV. So if you look at mine, it's the My Projections app. Those are the ones that I
those are the ones I have on my screen too. So I hope they're. I was making sure before I quote them all show that I end up saying one wrong or something, but I don't know. I don't really like much from this Cincinnati squad.
So can I get one take from you, Bruce, here? Because I'm curious. Because last week we saw it was Cake Boss who had a bunch of cheap wide receivers who went off, right? Is it better to punt wide receiver nowadays than try and get a high upside wide receiver than trying to gun for maybe a guy like Johnny Thompson in a sense?
Yeah, I think that's usually the play. Just because I kind of think of the running backs as pitchers in baseball. They're kind of more of a they're more of a sure thing than a position player per se. So I think that's correct, because you can get some good cheap receivers that are going to play the full game. That's why we usually have the 3K shitter column down at the bottom.
The best column on the playbook there. You just go down there, you dumpster dive, you get a 9-point projection at 3K, and sure enough, they can put up 30 like we saw last week. Big T, I mean, Sorsby looked good against Bowling Green, right? Max school looked good against the FCS school, but then obviously sucked versus Nebraska. So it's like, which one do you really think you get? Which Sorsby?
My gut feel is I just think he stinks. Like
I think he's a terrible thrower of the football.
But I think he's going to be more popular too. Like he's 6,400. We only got SaberSim has him at 9%. There's no way. Like he's too cheap for this type of solid projection. I think Cincinnati gets blown out here, and I'm not like a huge Kansas guy. I think this is a Kansas spot. I do not like Cincinnati here at all.
Well, okay, we're gonna disagree now. Okay,
of course you love Cincinnati. You always love them. Like,
because this is the game.
Predicted that a mile away that you would love Cincinnati here.
This is the game I crack open.
If you won one of these when we've argued on the show, you can have Cincinnati here. What's the 4.5? You can have 4.5 with.
Give me all 4.5. Give me the money line, Big T. All right,
you can have that too.
Here's the thing. All right, they lost Nebraska. That was your first impression. The offense always lags behind the defense. You understand that. But they went into Kansas City, which was basically a complete home game for Nebraska.
And they were horrible.
They battled. They lost by 3.
They didn't battle nothing. They were terrible.
They had the ball down 3, and Sorsby made a stupid.
And Nebraska sucks. We've seen them. They're bad. Like, I mean,
I'm not saying Kansas is any better. Damn. I mean,
I can't wait to own you on this game. I feel very good about this game.
Going to my guy, Royer.
I'm writing it down so I don't forget to make fun of you next week.
And that you're going to hate this too. Royer and Caldwell, double stacks with Sorsby there.
And you're double stacking Sorsby? Bruce, don't stand by this, Bruce. You're the sharp one on this show. Make fun of this guy. I mean, what is he talking about?
Yeah, that's a little too much for me, but I do like Royer a good amount. If you're just playing one, I think he's the guy.
All right. If you want to talk me down to one, that's fine. But UC money line.
Two receivers with a guy that can't throw.
He threw 15 of 15 against an FCS school.
Yeah, against Covington Catholic High School. He was 15 for 15.
Did you know they went into a running clock that second half? 10-minute quarters.
I believe it. They should have.
UC hasn't played a real. I'll count the MAC. I'll give Bowling Green some slack, but haven't played a real team in a couple of weeks. So this will be interesting as someone who lives in the area. But I do think Sorsby himself is a good play. But yeah, you don't have to stack him. You can definitely play him naked. He could be a cash guy at 6,400 without a doubt. All right, moving on. Georgia Tech taking on Wake Forest here. Haynes King. Oh, man, doesn't get any better than Haynes King on a slate at 7,900, Bruce. Oh, my God, he's too cheap. Wake Forest has not failed to frustrate me. Anytime they've been on a slate, I think I've gotten their players wrong. I think the Claiborne, remember the first slate we had him, he ended up getting hurt on that slate. Robbie Ashford, talk about a bad quarterback, Big T. Oh, my God. But it seems like Haynes King and Jamal Haynes are really the only guys I have complete interest in. If you want to talk me into Claiborne, you can, or a Chris Barnes, Bruce. go ahead. But what do you think about this game?
I think it's Haynes King. I think he's the one of the best quarterback plays on the slate. Wake Forest is terrible. So I think he's one of the better plays here. It is at Wake, so that is always a little scary. But man, he's just gonna give it his all like he always does. I'll never forget last week. Someone popped in the chat and said, or 2 weeks ago, whenever the Colorado game was, and said, he's not going to make it through this full game if he keeps taking these hits. Like, man, we've watched him year after year. He just keeps popping back. It's just what he does. Haynes King. On the Wake side, if I'm playing anybody, it's Chris Barnes, dude. I've watched a couple Wake games, and he looks like a dude. And he plays in the slot. He's getting anywhere from 4 to 7 targets per game. And they're going to be trailing most likely. There's just not going to be a ton of opportunity because Georgia Tech's probably going to play keep away like they do. But if I'm going to play anybody that's cheap, I don't mind him for 3,600. And you mentioned Haynes. I think he's a solid play. I don't like playing guys against Georgia Tech, but Claiborne, always has a ton of upside as a running back. He's looked elite this year when he's healthy. So I don't mind him either, but it's Haynes King most of my lineups. I just think he's such a great play here.
I can't wait for Jamal Haynes to graduate because I always get him and the Michigan running back too. So just Haynes, Jamal Haynes absolutely throw me through a loop every time one of them on a slate. I'm like, wait, was he? I thought for the first couple of weeks of the season, Haynes was the guy from Georgia Tech. Playing for Michigan there, and I was like, oh my god, he's still here. Big T. I do like the advertisement that Bruce put for Chris Barnes. He's just a dude. And that's the highest of praise for a guy at 3,600. I could see myself playing that. What are you doing with this game?
Man, I'm struggling with the chalky like quarterbacks because for whatever reason, I just don't feel good about Haynes King, and I think he's going to be the highest owned quarterback in the mix just because of this projection at almost 30. I just don't love Georgia Tech when they don't have to be pushed, and I don't think Wake's going to push them. I think Wake is just bad, and I guess the leverage, I want to see the ownership. I think Jamal Haynes will get owned, though, so it's not that much of a leverage spot. Just like always with this Georgia Tech team, these guys just have a lot of upside, and their price is not that crazy for what they got, especially against a team like Wake, but it's a road game. They're favored by 2 touchdowns. I just don't, for whatever reason, I just don't feel great about it. These are usually the slates I do good on, though, because don't you just feel good when you don't love the chalk? When you just love the chalk, it's just hard. It feels like it's hard to get off the really good plays. And yeah, you could get burned when you don't like chalk and the chalk goes off and you could just get torched. But as a tournament player, I almost like it better when the chalk doesn't just fall in line. And I just, for whatever reason, Haynes King, I just don't love it in this spot. And then Wake, we got Dolores Claiborne. I feel like Dolores Claiborne's been since the movie. No way Rubio knows that movie. Bruce probably does. Like usual, Bruce probably knows. Rubio doesn't. This dude's been in freaking college for 9 years now, and Dolores Claiborne stinks. Can't take it as an underdog. I don't love this spot. I don't love this spot at all.
Making me look up Dolores Claiborne and then stopping on a dime 15 seconds later was diabolical because you made me switch my tab.
Yeah, see, I don't. You can't be cheating and looking stuff up.
I'm looking here. I'm like, what?
That ruins the fun. If you look it up, you got to just go. You got to just go with it.
I do recognize the actress. Kathy Bates. All right,
Claiborne.
All right. You know what? I'm definitely not on Claiborne with you guys. I'm 100% not playing him.
The projection looks good though. I think it's just because of the volume always. But man, I just don't ever like Wake players.
Especially with a team total sub 20, right? It's just kind of a gross thing. And Bruce mentioned it too. Haynes King and Jamal Haynes could go on a 10-minute drive and you wouldn't bat an eye. And
that's how I see Georgia Tech. Yeah. That's what scares me about jamming in these guys. Mm-hmm. I know they're going to have a 10-minute drive, and it's going to tilt me when some random scores after 10 minutes.
That's like the fear of when you're playing a guy against Army and like Army just
and they go on that long, and then your guy doesn't even score after the 10-minute drive.
That was the Chandler Morris slate with North Texas last year. I was so excited to play. And then Army, and then went into like no touchdowns in the first half. And like you're just so tilted by that.
College is literally the best DFS sport. It's my favorite, but it also is the most tilting at times. When stuff happens, it's the most fun and the most tilting.
You know, you make a great point. I don't got to add anything to this game, but when you say, don't you like slates or you don't like anyone, that feels like NBA for me midway through the season where I'm just done with everyone. I'm just blindly looking at numbers at that point. I'm like, you know what? All these plays suck. That sounds like my NBA strategy halfway through a season. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to another local team, Big T. I'm going to Louisville in 4 days. I mean, I was actually they're going to be in Pitt. The Pitt Louisville game last year was one I had a chance to go to and didn't, because why would I want to watch Eli Holstein? And I got to give you credit. You were ahead of the curve on that one. Holstein.
I watch people play. Don't get me wrong. I haven't seen it but I mean, if I watch people, I have a pretty good feel for it. Doesn't mean I'm good with the numbers like Bruce is, but if I actually see a guy, which I've seen Holstein too many times, and we talked about the other freaking dude that gets hurt every game. Like, it's so annoying when you just know he's going to get hurt, and then he does.
The worst part was having the salary to spend for Desmond.
I know. I had him. That was what killed me last week more than anything. I had that dude everywhere, like just everywhere. He just stunk.
You think you had
to get hurt one drive in, or like whatever it was?
You think you had the nuts with Blaylock, and you're like, oh man, I got so many great teams with Blaylock. Bruce had him projected well enough. I got 10% play and 100% Desmond Reed with it. It's just the worst. Bruce, talk to me about some U of L and Pitt. I mean, Miller Moss at 5,700 does feel pretty cheap, man.
Yeah, I think he's one of the better cheap options at QB this week. And what surprised me is the ownership, being around 10-12% here at 5,700. You can jam him in and do a ton. He doesn't run a ton. He's more of the prototypical drop back passer, but it's I think he's a great play here because UL is probably going to sling it, especially if Isaac Brown's kind of limited. I don't know 100% if he's going to play. The backup is out. Duke Watson more than likely is out. Keywan Brown is likely out. So, they could be dipping into like 4th and 5th string running backs behind Isaac Brown. So, you could see him throwing it more. Colin Lacey is, got a ton of targets last week because Chris Bell got banged up. He might be out too. That's something to watch for. So Louisville could be extremely thin here with Dakari Collins, their former Clemson receiver. He got some good work last week too. So yeah, it's a solid game for offense. This was pretty high up in my pace rankings as well. So should be pretty quick. I hate playing Holstein. I'm right there with Big T. I hate playing him. I hate playing Des Reed just because he gets injured 3 or 4 times a game. Even if he does come back, it just pisses you off. So I like the receivers here. Kenny Johnson, Poppy Williams, of course. They're both under 5K. Even Kataris Hicks, he's a Louisville transfer. He's 3K. Should get a good amount of work there in a revenge spot. So I think he's solid as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talk about how thin they are, this Louisville team. That could definitely be a major talking point if you're talking about Isaac Brown potentially missing. Then you got Braxton Jennings in there. I played Dynasty with this Louisville team, Bruce, and I never got below Braxton Jennings. I will say that. Never got to that point. I didn't even know he was on the roster. But, Big T, with all those injuries mounting up here, but the pace being solid, it sounds like we could get some Louisville value potentially. What do you think?
Are you You got a little mojo going to you today. You got a little energy. Are you in the sauce early today? I like this version of you. You got a little pep in your step.
I got the Kona Big Waves out, baby. And it's spaghetti night. It's spaghetti and meatball.
Spaghetti night and a few early cocktails. I mean, You got it. Bruce, he's got a little extra pep in his step this week.
Oh, yeah. Love to see that.
I love to see it in the afternoon, but I'm with you guys. This Louisville stack looks real good to me. I mean, 5,700 for Miller Moss, 6,200 Chris Bell. I love Lacey. Lacey's 5K. I love that spot. And then if Reed is out, the good thing is this is a noon game. If Reed's out, I mean, Jared Goff, our boy Jared Goff from the Lions out here, 3,600. We're limited in practice. Yeah, I mean, 3,600 for Jared Goff is like just slam dunk city. Just slam. So I hope Reed's out because I want just a clear cut value, and I don't want to have to play freaking Reed ever. I don't even want to look at him. I don't want to think of him. I just want him to hold his helmet on the sideline and let me play Jared Goff. So, and then we got Poppy, Big Poppy. Yeah, I like this game. This is always the bounce back though for Holstein. Like last week, everyone had him. He stunk. He didn't look good at all. He'll bounce back this week and just nuke. Watch. This is what always happens. I think this game's a smash. We got to see the injuries, see who's in, but I think this smash city this game. If Jared Goff, best play of the slate if Reed's out.
Oh God, if Reed is out, I would gladly play some Jared Goff at 3,600. It would make a lot of sense and get a lot of those carries in the backfield without a doubt. And Bruce's dog's giving a nice approval there about stacking this game up. That's lovely. What type of dogs you got, Bruce?
All different kinds.
Oh,
There's two of them over there.
I was going to say they look like the Big T's dog. Whatever Big T's dog is, they look the exact same size.
It's a good dog.
Yeah, are you falling in love with that dog yet? For people who don't know, Big T hated dogs before getting one. I don't know if he's fallen for his dog yet or not.
Yeah, we're past the puppy stage, so I'm very happy with it now.
That is perfect. I'm going to wait for the late news to hit on this one. Bruce, obviously, you will be more attached to the Discord than ever, especially with this Louisville news potentially shaking up the slate quite a bit. What you just posted here as well in the live show chat as well is really nice. You got Watson, Isaac Brown, and Bell, with Brown and Bell both expected to play, while Watson is not expected to play from U of L so far. So, yeah, be sure to check into the Discord for that near lock. Bruce will definitely keep us updated, and we should have a good time talking about Louisville and Pitt tomorrow. All right, the biggest surprise last week, Indiana destroying Illinois. And I know Big T's loving that. You know,
I was going to say the biggest surprise to who?
Luke Altmaier had a rough go.
How'd he look? How'd he look last week? Did he look pretty good?
I don't think anyone on Illinois looked pretty good at all. What was that, 52 or 53 points or whatever? I mean, how do you go from a top 10 team in the nation to just getting blown out by 50-plus points by Indiana of all teams? Not Ohio State, not Oregon. Nah, Indiana just does that to you. You know what? They're a CFP playoff team. I get that, but damn. Bruce, is this Illinois defense just that bad? Or can we expect, Lemon to go off in that sense? Can we expect USC to put up a bunch of points? Or what are you doing with that Illinois game that we just saw?
Yeah, that's was head shaking for me. I didn't expect that bad of a beatdown, but one thing you can expect from Indiana is when they have a team down so bad, they're just going to score as many points as they can. So that I did expect, but yeah, it was just two levels of talent there. Indiana just looked so much better. So I do. I don't know what to expect this game. I don't mind Maeva here at quarterback. It is a road game, but they're gonna sling it. And you have easy two guys to play with them usually in Lemon and Lane. If Lane is 100%, I know he had an upper body injury last week. And that's why he missed the game. So maybe it was just a head injury or something. He was at the game, so. And there wasn't, nobody could tell that he had an injury, so maybe he plays this one. But Lemon's going to get the volume here one way or the other. So I do like him as always. Wayman Jordan at 6,400. He just looks so good every week. I love watching him play. But they've been playing Sanders a little bit more too. But when you look at Jordan's usage, he's up near 45%, which is pretty elite for a running back. So I don't mind him at all. I think he's a solid play. Illinois receivers are just all over the place. I don't mind Clement at 3K. He's getting more looks, and his usage is up there, so he'll definitely make the playbook here. I don't mind him at all, but yeah, it's probably be one of the slower games. But I don't mind the running backs at all.
Yeah, if you were to look at it last week, it was Lemon who had over 120 yards receiving. No other guy eclipsed 30. That was with Jacoby Lane out. I almost got confused with the Washington Commanders guy, Jalen Lane. And it was Wayman Jordan who had 18 carries, while Eli Sanders had 16 carries. Big T loved the result of that game because Michigan State somehow had a miraculous backdoor cover. Once again, the backdoor cover, guy. I swear, Big T.
Do you understand, Rubio? Do you understand that's why you take big underdogs? Because the backdoor's open.
I'm not complaining. I did have Michigan State with you, but you posted it into Discord, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
You also had Aiden Childs. You had his rushing number, which it was, I think, plus 175 or something like that. 30.
Yeah, it landed like in the middle of the ladder.
Yeah, but it was still profit because
he didn't run enough. Like he should have ran more.
Yep, and what Michigan State put up 31 on this USC team. The problem for me is whenever I watch a team get blown out, that was a top 10 team in the nation. And in hindsight, how the hell was Indiana 10 spots worse than them in the AP rankings after making the CFP playoff last year? That's hindsight 2020, obviously. But I have a tough time knowing what to do with Illinois. But obviously, I have no idea who you're going to be on in this game, except for Lemon. I mean, Lemon's going to be a great play.
Yeah, I like that. I like when you don't know who I'm on. And this is a tough spot because I hate Altmaier and I USC. I just think it is super overrated. I think their offense is good, but their defense is terrible. And now they got to go on the road. Really tough. Oh, I love Illinois here. I mean, Purdue covered for me. Michigan State covered for me. Illinois is definitely better than both of those teams. I have no choice but to take Illinois at home. And I'm taking the money line against USC. I am on Illinois here. Mr. Altmaier is going to earn my respect this week. 6,200. He'll actually run, though. Like the dude last week wouldn't run for me. We're getting right back on the ladders, too, Rubio. Altmaier ladders. What kind of number are we looking at here? You're good. Are these? They're probably not even up yet because it's tomorrow. If you can, when you get a sec, see if you can see what these are because we're hopping on the Altmaier wagon, the ladders. This Beatty dude, I love this Beatty dude at 5,100. Dixon's okay at 4,300. I'm just going to keep going against USC until I eventually make a lot of money going against them. It's going to happen. They score and they play no defense. What more could you want in college DFS than a team that's going to score and not play any defense? Sign me up. The only hard part is you don't see a ton of upside necessarily, but the good part is none of these guys for Illinois are going to be owned. You're telling me I can get Altmaier for 5% owned? He's going to nuke. Altmaier's going to nuke this week. Like he's going to crush. He might even end up being my play of the day to really, really get people excited about it. Pair him up with Beatty. I mean, it's going to nuke. And then the other way, like you guys said, you got the quarterback who looks good. You got Lemon. You got Jordan. Lane, if he plays, is good play. I love it. Love everything about this game.
I like how you went out of your way to not pronounce Maeva. That was really sharp by you.
I don't know. I know how to pronounce it. That's how I talk. You don't think I don't? Stop. Don't try to put stuff on me just because you said freaking Dampier or whatever you said. Don't try to do that to me.
Hey, we got him upcoming. You already know. We're going right back to it. He's in a few games here. And they also get that West Virginia matchup, which will be fun. So some word on your alt numbers. I assume you want passing numbers on Altmaier.
No, I want rushing numbers.
Okay. They're not up. They're not up for rushing. All right.
Yeah, I want rushing for Altmaier.
All right. Fair enough. Big T, the biggest fan of Altmaier on this show today. Who would have thought that?
I want passing and rushing now that I'm thinking about it.
The passing.
The rushing's going to be low though because you lose yards for sacks, so it's going to be low.
Bruce, how did that offensive line hold up against Indiana last week? I admittedly did not watch that game.
Yeah, it didn't look great. Yeah, they just kind of got beat everywhere.
That was supposed to be their strength, right, coming into this year?
Yeah, they were supposed to be solid on the offensive line, at least run blocking, and even that hasn't been great.
That's interesting. Obviously, I will say the price.
Gavin, gotta travel. We gotta travel, Gavin. We gotta travel.
I gotta say, I love that you're on the +7 Illinois and the money line because I think I'm
Yeah.
going to be hand in hand with you. USC finally gets ranked too at 21. They're going to be freshly bounced out of the rankings after this week.
And I like over too. We're getting points for sure here.
He is right. The 12 p.m. start time after what? They finished up that game against Michigan State at like 2 or 3 a.m.
Dude, I never like fall asleep before the games are over. I was strong. I had one eye open at the end, like rooting on that late touchdown. I was falling asleep. I'm not gonna lie.
75-yarder to get you across the finish line.
And I'm not gonna lie, it got me out of bed, and I got a little mini chainsaw in when it happened, a little mini one.
That's good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I'm with you guys there. Let's move on to an SEC affair, and we get to our guy Trinidad Chambliss at 88 or 7,700. He's going to be pretty cheap, pretty chalky as well. It was Kawan Lacey who ended up looking really sharp last week. Got a pair of touchdowns, I believe, and ended up being one of the higher scorers on that Ole Miss team, which saw a lot of chalk kind of go by the wayside. And that chalk was Harrison Wallace the third. He is only $5K again. Again, DK underprices him. You can get him as a flop lag, as we like to call it. Won't be as high owned this time. But Bruce, what are you doing with this one? I also got to bring it up. Lane Kiffin's daughter dating the linebacker of LSU. Lots of drama at stake here.
Yeah, the main thing we don't know how good this LSU defense really is. They were terrible last year. We attacked them like every week. And when you look at who they've played, they've played Southeast Louisiana, Florida. They held Florida down, but most of that was DJ Lagway. He was tossing it to the other team all game. They played Louisiana Tech, and then they played Clemson, and we've seen what Clemson looks like on offense so far as well. So they're traveling to Ole Miss here, road game, tough place to play. It's going to be interesting to see how they play defense against Chambliss. He's looked great, passing and running the ball. So, and his ownership is probably going to come around 15 to 20%. You love the guys with upside like him. I don't mind playing him at all. Nussmeier is going to be, unowned against a bad, it's a bad Ole Miss defense. We saw what they did against Arkansas a couple weeks back. Taylon Green kind of just did whatever he wanted to do. So maybe this is the week that the LSU defense is clicking on all cylinders too. Our offense is clicking on all cylinders. I do like LSU kind of to sling it around. Chambliss to have a nice game. This game is kind of going overlooked a little bit. You look at all the receivers, there's only one guy projecting for about 10% ownership, and that's Wallace. The rest of them, Aaron Anderson, not Anthony Anderson, that would be weird. Is only about 7%, projecting for about 7% ownership. He's got 8, 10, and 8 targets in the games that were close. I think he's a solid play. Xavier Thomas does everything, plays a little running back, receiver. Even on the Ole Miss side, I talked about Wallace, but Deuce Alexander, he's only 3,700. Dude had 5 targets last week at 3K. Daquan Wright, the tight end, looked really great. You can even go back to Stribling or Lee if Lee's healthy enough. It's just a good game for offense. I think maybe both have big games here.
I agree, Gavin. That Trinidad Chambliss name, it is definitely up there for one of the best names. And I just heard of it for the first time 2 weeks ago when Bruce had that playbook and stuff, and it's like, oh my god, who the hell is this guy? And it turns out he can ball a decent bit. Big T, what are you doing with this game here? I mean, this is a tough one to figure out, just because we got a lot of price tags that are kind of in the middle range, right? So it's like not going to be a ton of ownership on it. But you got Nussmeier, who can obviously be paired with some double stacks if you want to be aggressive with LSU.
Yeah, the hard part with these teams, it does feel like it's spread around. And Nussmeier's he's another guy I just don't like. I know it sounds like I don't like people, but man, he's been around a while. 8,800 on the road. I just don't see how I can play him. I just don't think I can click it. But he does have upside, and he does have guys you can pair him with that are going to be pretty low owned. Yeah, I mean, no ownership whatsoever, actually, now that I'm looking at it. And you get the flop lag spot of all flop lag spots with Harrison Wallace, where chalk, I mean, he was 80% owned in the one contest last week, and now he's going to be 5 to 10% owned, and he's only 5K still. So I think I have to like him this week in the flop lag spot. Deuce Alexander's a good play. Caden Lee could always pop. They just have so many guys is the hard part. I mean, Stribling could pop one of these weeks. There's just so many guys that you can go to, and Lacey might be the best play of all of them. And just note, I think Chambliss is safe at quarterback. He's looked really good, but the other dude is back, I think. I think he's healthy. Just something to throw out there. I don't think it means anything just because Chambliss has been good, but just note it because you never know with the lane train what he's going to do.
Yeah, and the running back situation for LSU is kind of up in the air. I know Durham's been banged up. If he doesn't go, we could see Juwan Johnson start for 3,600, and he'd be a solid play. Of course, if he starts, could also see one of these other guys start, but I think he's been the best running back behind Durham there.
That's interesting, and definitely something to keep an eye on for the 3:30 games here too. And you're exactly right. The Harrison Wallace flop lag, I think I'm going to be entertaining quite a bit. After being one of the highest owned guys overall in the slate to nowhere near that, despite the price tag not changing that much and wide receiver value getting way worse compared to last week. I think I'm going to go back to that. You guys summed it up. My favorite thing.
Off the boss. Is he back, Bruce? Our boy?
Yeah, he played some last week too. He just no targets, mostly was a blocker.
Off the boss.
Big T, my favorite thing is when you hate a quarterback, right? So do you want to see the top 3 quarterbacks in the latest CBS Sports mock draft? It's Fernando Mendoza, then it's Garrett Nussmeier at pick 4, and then it's John Mateer at pick 7.
I mean, I do like Mateer. He's the one.
Oh my God!
That wasn't me that didn't like Mateer. That was Bruce that made fun of me that time.
I don't know how you like Mateer. I just don't get it.
I don't like a lot of the quarterbacks that are projected to be good this year, though. Like, I don't like the Penn State guy either that's projected good. I don't like a lot of these top guys. Doesn't mean I'm right. Some of these guys will crush, but I just don't like them.
I felt that way about JJ McCarthy being a first-round pick.
You were probably right. I like JJ. I'll admit it. I like him.
He might be fun, but that's one of those things where my dad and I were just like, how the hell is this guy a first round now? And then you just kind of look at it. You got Mateer up there. You got Nussmeier. You got all these guys. Dante Moore is now the 4th highest quarterback in those rankings as well for Oregon.
I like him. I like him a lot. Yeah,
he seems like he's got some juice to him. Obviously we haven't seen him play enough for the flaws.
I won't be surprised if he charges up the list.
Yes. The thing is, we've seen a guy like Nussmeier play for so long that you saw him be really shitty. The first,
he's never been good. I don't. He's at LSU. What frustrates me about some of the he should be good. He's in a perfect spot. If you can't crush in that, how are you not just shitty?
I agree. Jay Penny Haas is a beast in NCAA. I mean,
he's a beast in life. He's won us a lot of money over the years.
Oh, you get Taylor Green and stuff, and then obviously Haas was that just an absolute beast in 25, also 26 too.
Love Haas the boss.
24 now, 25. Yeah, should be fun. And let's move on to Texas A&M taking on Auburn here. Jackson Arnold last week. Against his former team. That was one of the things to kind of look at. But then you got Marcel Reed at 9,300 here. We've seen so many cheaper quarterbacks, I should say, than Marcel Reed, but he's got a very healthy projection with your projections here, Bruce. You got Mario Craver as well at 5,200. I mean, this Texas A&M team, what they did to Notre Dame was impressive, right? I mean, they went into South Bend and they got the dub and, they put up 40 plus. Is that a situation that we could see against Auburn here tonight or tomorrow night?
Yeah, the one thing about Auburn's defense is they've been really good against the run, but not so much against the pass. So I do like the passing game of Texas A&M here with my favorite French quarterback, Marcel Reed, and he's been slinging it. Looked good against Notre Dame. Mario Craver is going to be most owned receiver on the slate. Just we saw what Satania did last week in the same. In the slot. We saw what Baylor did week 1. They've just been getting carved over the middle, and Craver is the guy that's going to take advantage of that. You could also see Concepcion as like the pivot off of him, because he does play some in the slot, and he's a big playmaker. So kind of like the TCU situation, you can play KC over Craver here and get some edge. But I think one or both is going to have a big game. It's a great spot for them. I think Coleman and Singleton are great plays for Auburn as well. Singleton had 11 targets last week against OU, and Coleman had 7. Especially if they're trailing, they're going to have to throw it to those guys who've looked great. No interest in the A&M running game, really. I guess if you play somebody, it's Moss. But Cobb and Alston are rotating for Auburn now that Alston's healthy. So I do like Reed and a receiver too here as a stack. I think that's a solid play with one of these Auburn guys, Coleman or Singleton as well.
I like it. I just want, next time I look up a guy, when you say Marcel Reed, I just really hope there's some French origin there. He has none, though. I got really hopeful there, Bruce. Maybe I could get that. Same with Devin Dampier. There was nothing there. But Big T, what are you doing with some Texas A&M and Auburn here?
It looks like the most clear double stack type game of the whole slate, where exactly what Bruce was saying. You got Reed, who's looked awesome. Craver has absolutely duked. So he's played Notre Dame, Utah State, and Utah. UTSA is the other game. Just absolute nuke city. Already 4 touchdowns. Already over 200 yards versus Notre Dame. Just smash city. But then you got the NC State kid too, Concepcion, who is probably the better receiver, who was a monster last year. So the opposite of the quarterbacks that we see that always suck are guys like this that I feel like are just always good plays. And now he's in another good spot, cheap price. I just absolutely love that double stack. You get them both at $5K, and yes, Reed is expensive, but that's going to make Reed, what do we got him projected on? He's projected under 10%. This is the highest total, or is it not? Is it 53? It's not the highest total. I said that wrong, but it's a decent sized total. The pricing is just awesome. I think it's a great spot. And then you get Auburn, who last week had about as tough a spot as you could have going versus Oklahoma. They, like we said on the show, they kind of knew Jackson Arnold's weaknesses. Somewhat tough spot there, but I think this will be a better spot for some points. And you got Cam Coleman at 6,900. I still remember last year when we talked about him at being a top 3 receiver in the country with the Alabama kid and the Ohio State kid. Those 3 were like the studs last year. And Cam Coleman at 6,900 might be, 1% owned. He's the McAllister play of last week, where no one's going to play this kid, and he's got all the talent in the world. The downside is Jackson Arnold throws to him, and he is not a good thrower of the football, and they want to run. But if Texas A&M gets up and forces Auburn to throw, then Cam Coleman's got to go deep. He's going to house 2 of them deep, just like McAllister last week. He's going to take a couple deep. Absolutely love it. Simmons, I guess you could look at 3,300. Singleton, I love the floor of Singleton. I don't know if he's got the same ceiling as other people, but 4,800 for a guy that gets this many targets. Again, you got Jackson Arnold throwing, though, so that's the only downside to it. But I like this game. I think this game goes over. I think you can double stack it both ways. It really syncs up nicely with the slate. But, man, Cam Coleman at 6,900 is quite the price. He should be like 4,900 with how good he's played. So you're 2K overpriced, but he's got a lot of upside.
Yeah, very, very nice there. The Auburn defense you mentioned, Bruce, throughout the season has just been terrible over the middle, right? They just have been conceding just in bunches, whether it's just a ton of catches to a guy like Craver, Concepcion, but also, they got the tight end position that's been constantly nuking against them as well. It does feel like this is just going to be another prime time spot for a passing attack. We saw what Sawyer Robertson did to them just in fantasy points and stuff. I do like targeting against Auburn. That 52.5 total does feel a little bit low. I mean, I just look at that. I mean, Auburn's defense, I just don't really have any respect for. And this game being at A&M, I mean, this just feels like a chance to kind of jam some A&M. I know -7. You prefer to get that -6.5 number, right? Big T, you like getting that off that hook a little bit. Is that a fine teaser number? What's your favorite teaser number? Is it like the 7.5, like 8.5?
Yeah, you got to tease through the key numbers. I don't like it as much in college though. There's way more scoring in college.
For sure. Yeah, I was just like looking at that too, where it's like
I like Auburn in this game though. For the record, I like Auburn.
Oh, interesting. There's going to be another spread. I wonder if that's the next game that we're talking about. But no, it's in a few games. The Ohio State spread too was 8.5, which I was kind of shocked by a little bit. That's a classic trap spot. You're going to tell me I'm an idiot for liking Ohio State. They're going across the country.
Of course you. Do you ever like the underdog? You like JSU. I do all
Get the hell out of here. I was
just never like the ugly team, like ever.
I was with Michigan. I bet it with you. I held hands a little bit. Come on now. Ohio State, though, 8.5-point favorites against Washington. Where the hell is Washington at? Come on now.
Ohio State sucks. Stop distracting us. We're not to that game yet.
We are not to that game yet, but you guys make great points. Craver and Concepcion will be some absolutely smash plays. Marcel Reed, despite being one of the best double stacks on the slate here, will be under-owned because of that 9,300 price tag. And Singleton and Coleman. You know, you saw Dwyer last week was actually over 50% owned, while McAllister was under 15%, I believe, on that classic $20 that they ran. Could have leverage, not comparable to that, but definitely some leverage with any of these stud wide receivers who haven't performed up to their standards just yet, but absolutely have the room to, just like McAllister did last week. Bruce Gundy out at Oklahoma State. Talk about one of the worst teams I have watched on TV this season. Oklahoma State has definitely been up there. How do they respond against a Baylor team? Is this a Baylor team that's going to run Bryson Washington to the ground here? Because the snap count for him is always one of the best in college football. Could we see something like that 9,100 tomorrow night?
Yeah, this is a terrible Oklahoma State team. So Baylor should roll here. It's just a matter of how they'll get it done. They could pass all over them. They could run Bryson Washington 20 times and try and put up 200 yards rushing. So, yeah, it's a good offensive spot for Baylor. I don't mind playing pieces here. I just think they win by 40 plus here. It's a good game for them to just blow out, maybe sit the starters fourth quarter here. Josh Cameron's only 6,300. Looked great last week, but then he had a couple fumbles that tilted me. I was very live for the late slate showdown, and of course Trigg caught a long touchdown that just knocked me down to 12. So I needed that to be Cameron, but both those guys are in play. Ashton Hawkins, who's very tilting, one target last week. He's cheap. Don't mind a guy like him as value. But Bryson Washington obviously is the play here. If you're going to pay up for running back, 9,100 against Oklahoma State, very good.
Speaking of stud wide receivers too, and you mentioned a guy like Josh Cameron, Bruce, how you needed him last week. It was that game against SMU, Big T, where he absolutely nuked. Again, it's these stud wide receivers who just have been underperforming to the point, but always have massive upside. And against SMU, he did that for you. And you're going to get him at 6,300 here. Probably not too high of ownership. But again, are they just going to be pushing enough, right? That's the concern with Baylor here is, are they going to be up 40 and not caring in the fourth quarter? Or is this going to be tight enough to where guys like Cameron and Trigg and Hawkins could be a factor? What do you think?
So we get the Notre Dame play from last week where you just get it, the easiest play ever. Bryson Washington, 150 and 2 touchdowns, somewhere in that range, maybe more, maybe 200 and 2 touchdowns. Didn't we do like the ladder or whatever we did? We should get that going this week.
We had plus 425 last week for it was 110 yards is what I ended up betting it at. If you did 100 yards, you got like plus 320 and 2 touchdowns and the cover. That was the big thing.
Let's do that same thing here with Baylor.
Gotcha.
Oklahoma State's dead. And I mean, this dude, he might get 3 or 4 touchdowns. I mean, it's just, he's going to nuke, and it makes the game easy because I'm not going to play. I mean, Sawyer Robertson, he was terrible. I mean, he's 10K. You can't play that in this spot. Just I mean, Bryson Washington just slam dunk. They're not. I mean, they're not. They were so bad, Oklahoma State. Just sign me up. Run the same bet back last week that we did with Bryson Washington here.
Not posted on our partners at DraftKings just yet, but that is something that I will absolutely fiddle with. And the big thing is covering the 21. I think we had 24.5 last week for Notre Dame, and they ended up crushing it, which was a worry in that first time. They still gave up 30 and ended up covered, which was crazy. But
it
yeah,
was never like in doubt though. Like they were rolling them.
Yeah, it was never a doubt at all. And I think you're going to see something like that, very similar to this too. I mean, it's just, yeah. I mean, how can we believe in Oklahoma State at all? The Rodney Fields thing is he actually looked good last week, Bruce. He was the guy, what was it, Caleb Black, who ended up sitting out. We don't know. Who knows what that situation is going to look like in the backfield, but it was Rodney Fields who ended up playing a ton, and he actually ended up looking really solid. He was a factor in the passing game too. Am I saying that a guy who is a 21-point dog is a great play? No, 4K on a slate with value that doesn't feel too great, who might play the whole game. I could see myself looking at more Rodney Fields. I do now see that the ownership is pretty high on him. You missed it, CTK guy. He's been all over.
I made fun of every chalk play, and I still get made fun of. I'm not allowed to play any chalk guys. I got to play at least one chalk guy.
Yeah, he's been on no to the chalk today.
Man, it's a tough crowd around here. I've given all crazy plays, and I have one chalk guy that's going to score 40, and I get made fun of.
You mentioned it earlier in the show how you've hated every single play.
Man, there's a tough crowd around here, CTK.
That's good stuff. All right, my guy, Ryan Davis, takes on West Virginia here. And Devin Dampier, baby. Devin Dampier at 9,600. Looked pretty bad last week. Ryan Davis, though, he was an absolute hero for the PPR beast. I think he had 7 catches for 54 yards in the first half. Ended up doing just kind of mediocre. I think he got like 16.6 fantasy points or something. Where he ended up having 10 catches for 70 yards. I think it might have been 17.1. But talking about the safest play on the board at 4,500. I mean, that is the double condom play that I can imagine that you just look at. Wayshawn Parker ended up scoring the touchdown late on. This and the West Virginia team. I mean, my God, I watched them against Pitt. Pitt obviously lost out in Reed, and Holstein looked horrible, but they ended up getting the job done. I can't stand anyone from this game except Ryan Davis. And you talk about a guy who might not even have 20-point upside, but he'll guarantee you a floor of 12. What are you doing with this game here, Bruce?
Yeah, the crazy thing is the pace is going to be nice. You know, West Virginia loves to go fast with Rich Rod, head coach. But the total's still low. Utah should win. They want to run the football like always. So I don't love West Virginia. The one game I went against them was against Pitt, and they came out and somehow won that. I still don't know how they won that game with those guys that they have. This is a very bad West Virginia team. But it is at West Virginia, so I do think it kind of stays closer and low scoring. Running back is probably where I'd attack, but they're both of the guys that get carries for Utah are expensive. 6,800 for Parker and then 6K for Rogers. So mostly staying away there. Like you said, Ryan Davis is solid at 4,500. 12 targets back-to-back weeks. So the volume's going to be there. He's a small white dude that plays in the slot. So he's going to be he doesn't have a ton of upside there. So yeah, it's a tough game for me to get excited about. Dampier is always in play with his rushing ability against this bad defense. But yeah, there's other guys in this range I'd rather play than him.
Yeah, 100%. One of those guys that we just talked about, Marcel Reed, who won't be high owned at all, and he's going to offer some double stacks that really do look appetizing. My favorite thing to do is look at Ryan Davis's ADOT. It is 7.2. Yeah, that's good stuff right there. The average depth target for Ryan Davis is below the mark.
Someone that loves you the way Rubio loves this dude. I mean,
what do you mean?
You're into it. You are into it.
I guarantee you he's in the cash lineup tomorrow. I mean, there's just no way he's not at 4,500. But Big T, tell me that you're on our favorite Frenchman.
So I forget who was I talking about earlier with the flop lag. The Ole Miss guy, the Ole Miss receiver. Just play that Ole Miss receiver with this Dampier or however you say it. I keep wanting to say it the right way, and I got to say it Dampier after last week. Just play it. Play both flop lag spots because, I mean, he's going to be super low owned, and he just has all the upside in the world in this spot. You can even play Rubio's hero, Ryan Davis, with him. Get yourself 10 targets for 32 yards. Maybe he scores. But it's not my favorite spot. But in like the big tournament, $20 or whatever it is, I'll take a chance with him just because he screwed me last week. I can't live with myself if I don't come back with him in this spot versus an up-paced West Virginia team with a 27 projection. I just can't live with myself. So to be able to look at myself in the mirror, I will take Dampier again this week, and I'll play him with Ryan Davis. And the West Virginia side, though, might be – well, not might be. It is the easiest fade of the entire slate. There's no one on there that you can play. Just get out of there.
Yeah, I think it was like that backup tight end I saw score against Pittsburgh. Is that who it was, or something like that? It might have been Grayson Barnes actually, but that late touchdown to end up getting that game tied, taking it to overtime. Yeah, it is just an absolutely gross West Virginia side. I'm with you guys. It's just Utah or bust. Big T, as someone who bets pitch feeds that I can make my chases within 10 seconds, the fact that you have to wait a week and still chase the Dampier game is very.
I can't help myself. I was so mad at myself last week. I mean, this dude was at New Mexico and stunk, and somehow I fell for him last week. I think he was at New Mexico, right, Bruce? Was that where he was? I mean, I was so mad at myself all freaking day. I couldn't believe how heavy I put him on my main team. He was in my core. Just embarrassing. I apologize to the people. That was terrible.
I think it mainly, I think you could be right at the end of the year, though. I think Texas Tech's defense is just really good. They paid a lot of money for those guys, and they look legit. I think they finally have a good defense.
They look good. You're right.
Yeah. So I think you could be right at the end of the year. Just we need more. We need more evidence. Better matchups for Dampier to see how it goes.
That's why we want to play him, though, Hobbs. Like that. You just said why I want to play him.
Yep, just because the ownership will be very much kept down. Dallin Bentley, you've had a good projection on him. Bruce obviously talked about it a little bit too. Definitely the higher upside play between him and Davis. And if you just did have someone, again, I don't like to rely on patterns that happened in the past, but you obviously saw the 50K winner, Cake Boss have 3 guys who were completely unknown below 4K. Bentley could easily be a guy where he might be 5% owned or whatever, but 3,600, if you were to get like a 20 ball in this slate, could go a very long way. And saving that 900 from a very chalk, you just talk about natural leverage there too. Going to a guy like Bentley over Davis could be the move. Indiana, oh my God, just beating down in Illinois. We already talked about that. Going against Iowa, who that was the funniest game last week. Was the Rutgers-Iowa game that somehow had like 42 points inside the first half, and then it ended up just kind of die. It did go in the fourth quarter. They went scoreless in the third. That's what I remember. And then it ended up 38-28. The Hawkeyes put up 38 points against Rutgers. And the way they did it was hilarious because they didn't throw a passing touchdown. They had 186 yards passing total. And they only had Gronowski. He ran 3 in, but none of the guys eclipsed 70 rushing yards either. Is this just a natural spot where, again, just forget about Iowa completely? No care for them in the world. Moulton's too expensive at 6,200 as well, even though he's going to be RB1. And it's just kind of focusing on an Indiana team in a tough spot against Iowa where their prices are down for the most part. And I'm kind of done with Surratt. I mean, if there's anyone, I just have more interest in Cooper here. Bruce, what do you think?
Yeah, our guy Gronowski looked great against Rutgers. I think Rutgers more than likely has a bad defense, but you love to see 10 rushes per game, 6 rushing touchdowns on the year from your quarterback. That's cheaper than 7K. That's kind of fun, but man, this game is tough. Indiana's going to Iowa, always a tough place to play. So it's tough for me to play a whole bunch here. Like you said, Cooper looks like the alpha through a few weeks. Still Surratt 10 targets last week. He just doesn't have the upside of a guy like Cooper. So it's always tough to play anyone on Iowa. Moulton is looked great in his return last week, 60% of the snap. He's a stud, but it's a tough matchup for them. Indiana's been great against the run. They're great against Illinois last week, so it's just tough to play any Iowa guys. I'm mostly going to stick to playing a receiver or two from Indiana here.
I like it. I'm kind of with you there, arm in arm. Big T, what are you doing with Indiana, Iowa?
Yeah, Iowa's always a tough spot. This will be a true test for Indiana. I'm not saying they're going to lose. They probably won't. Iowa stinks, but it's tough. If they go in there and just drill Iowa, I think that they're well on their way right back into the playoff this year. This is a tougher game than it seems. Off that big win, trap game. But you look at their numbers. I mean, Surratt looks awesome. Cooper looks awesome. Why are you done with Surratt? What made you not like him? The 30-point game last week you didn't like?
Cooper absolutely looked like the better guy until last week, and he did it in a blowout. Let me know when the game matters. Let me know when the game's close. Who's Mendoza going to? It's Cooper.
I mean, I don't know about all that. I don't. I mean, they're both in the 5Ks. It does look like a normal double stack. I just know how Iowa goes. I mean, they're coming off a big win. These plays look good. I highly doubt they just nuke in this spot. They're probably more good for or better for filler plays. They have 5,900. I can't really play Mendoza on this slate, so I don't really need to go all into it. But Surratt and Cooper are both good plays, both cheap prices. I don't love this game though. Iowa's a really tough spot.
I am 100% with you. You're sounding like a true Big Ten head here, Big T. Going into Iowa would be a very impressive win. The SEC fans, the SEC non-ball knowers wouldn't care about this result. I think this is a true litmus test. You coming off a high against Illinois, you go into Iowa, you kick some butt. I will definitely have the utmost respect for an Indiana team that would probably finish second in the SEC. All right, let's go on to Ohio State and Washington. The spread in this one is 8.5. It's Jeremiah Smith, the Lamborghini of all wide receivers in college football, the best of the best, the Rolls Royce. No one can be compared to him. Then you got Dedmon Williams, 8,200. He was pretty chalky on the night slate last week, I believe, if I remember right. You also got Jonah Coleman, who's got a very healthy projection, as well as 6,900. And then Julian Sand, 8,100 here. Bruce, talk to me about some Ohio State and Washington and why I should not be chasing the Ohio State minus 8.5.
Yeah, this game is probably going to be one of my favorites to watch this week. I like Washington a ton. They've kind of been my team preseason, just because I love Damon Williams. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten, and just looking forward to seeing him against a real team. They have played a whole lot. Denzel Boston is a stud at wide receiver. Jeremiah Smith is a stud on the other side. So it's going to be a fun real life game. I just don't know if he gets there DFS wise. But some real dudes in this game. They're going to be playing at the next level. Jonah Coleman is a stud. He's going to be a good running back at the next level for sure. And then, the Ohio State guys, Peoples, Donaldson, and even Bo Jackson at 3,100. I think Bo Jackson has looked like the best running back for Ohio State like the last couple of games to me. So I think I don't know what he's going to do this game, but I'd prefer to if I'm going to play somebody from this one, it's probably just the receivers again, Smith and Boston. And, I don't mind Damon Williams just because he has so much upside. We saw in the bowl game last year, he had 300 yards rushing or 300 yards passing and 200 yards rushing or near it. So, and he's only 8,200. It's a tough matchup, but it is at home. So you just never know. And I don't think the Ohio State defense is, just the best in college football. So, I think it's a good spot for him if he's going to go off. He's cheap too. He's cheap enough where you could play him and feel okay with it with the amount of value on this slate for sure.
Yeah, I mean, what does that say about Arch Manning, Bruce?
Mhm.
What does that say about Arch Manning?
And he was terrible the first 3 games. Arch was, and he looked great last week. I think he's finally figured it out, but we'll see. We'll see next week for sure.
Hey, he looked good. What was that? Bulldozing some accounting major and then
That's
letting
great.
them know about it.
I love to see that. Yeah.
He's got that dog in him a little bit.
Mhm.
But a
Yep.
lot of people did have a lot of respect. Taking off the Ohio State bias, a lot of people were crowning this Ohio State defense very much after that Texas game. But it could be, that Texas offense just wasn't ready. And it's not like Texas was not, never in a spot to win that game either. I mean, that is one thing where if I just took off the bias glasses, this Ohio State team going on the road into a Washington opponent is going to be pretty tough. Big T, talk to me about why Washington is going to be one of your favorite bets. I can already just see it. I can see it formulating here.
I mean, there's no way you don't like Washington in this spot. Like, it's impossible not to like Washington unless you're a huge donkey, and then you would be on Ohio State. But I'm with Bruce, definitely on Washington. I think we're going to find out a lot about both these teams in this spot too. Ohio State going all the way West Coast, somewhat tough road spot. I'm pretty sure I saw this is the first time ever a number 1 team is on the road versus an unranked team, and it's like a single-digit spread. I think it's the first time ever I saw. There was some stat like that. So that tells you everything you need to know about this spot. And Jonah Coleman is maybe my favorite. Well, not more than Chalky that I got made fun of Washington. But besides him, he's my second favorite running back. He's going to nuke on this Ohio State defense. Ohio State's super overrated. I love them last year. I bet them the entire season last year. They made me the money. This year, they're nowhere close to what they were. I don't like it at all. I love owning Rubio too, so I'm definitely with Bruce on this spot. You can always play Jeremiah Smith, obviously. Don't love it though. And yeah, Washington for me, Jonah Coleman for me. I'm actually not even really on the receivers all that much at these prices. These prices are too high for me. So just Jonah Coleman and Washington.
Yeah, I mean, if there was one thing I don't do if I want to make money, it's fade both of you and Bruce. So I will rescind my Ohio State bet at -8.5, and I won't bet it.
It would be a teaser spot though if you did like it. Get that thing below the 7 and the 3, and just hope they grind one out.
The Bo Jackson thing is interesting at 3,100. He looked good against.
We need to see him in a real game here though. Like, where do they lean on him really? Because he looks good to me too. But do they really lean into it?
I think Donaldson is not great. I'll be honest. I don't think that highly of Donaldson. I don't think that highly of Peoples. And the fact that Bo Jackson is even given a chance right now, I think says a lot too. I don't know exactly what Ohio State's plan is.
It's just really hard to like.
Yeah,
running college is just hard. You can't give up some of these running back plays for him.
Yep, exactly. At 3,100, you'd be taking a huge flyer on a chance that he might not even play that much. I mean, it's a showdown.
He could just not play.
Yeah, it's a showdown play. I mean, that's what it is at this point. And you play him a showdown, but probably not in a classic slate. But if he goes off tomorrow, you'd be like, damn, I wish that we were there early.
He could. He definitely could. He's talented. Yeah. Like, absolutely, he could. He's a perfect showdown play. This has to be a showdown game too, right?
It has to be. You have the number 1 team in the nation, and the only other game that I think could rival it would be Ole Miss and LSU, just off on pure paper. But they like the Ohio State. Ohio State draws a contest pretty highly too. So I would imagine so. I'll check it during this talk here that you have, Bruce, with Tennessee and Mississippi State. What is it? Has it been a couple weeks since Tennessee blew that game against Georgia? I mean, just absolutely horrendously, just shanked the field goal to win it, iced their own kicker, all that stuff. But Aguilar ended up looking really good to start that game, and then it kind of just fizzled out for the most part. You got Brazel, he's the one who went off against that Georgia team, right? I believe so at 5,800. Then on the opposite side of the ball, Fluff Bothwell.
Bagwell.
Yeah, Bagwell. I was trying to think of the nickname that you guys gave him, and then Blake shaped into a 6,600.
Another guy, you have no idea who Buff Bagwell is.
You made me look him up last time, and I still have no clue. I forgot. That's how I looked him up, and I forgot already. I will say the prices on like a guy like Anthony Evans and Brendan Thompson caught my eye with your projections, Bruce. If you were looking at it that way, the Tennessee defense was not stunning against Syracuse even, or, against Georgia a couple of weeks ago. What are you doing with this game?
Yeah, this game actually looks like the best pace game out of the others here. So, Tennessee goes at a crazy pace. Mississippi State is also very fast. So, somehow this game stays close. Could be a fun DFS game for sure. It was one of the ones I targeted early in the week, and I think the spread's pretty close too because it is at Mississippi State. Mississippi State played well against Arizona State already this year. Won that game. So, maybe they can keep it close. At least play Tennessee well. I like the receivers here: Brazel, Evans, Staley, even Brennan Thompson. Just good value here at receiver. Traore, the tight end, is 3,400. One thing about Tennessee is they're going to run the football and then try and hit you over the top with the receivers. And they have some good ones this year. Brazel's just smashed, dude. Dude has 6 receiving touchdowns already this year. A.Dot's 13.4. And he just looks great. Staley also looks great. Just a good receiving core. Buff Bagwell is only 4,900. And, Tennessee hasn't looked great on defense, and now they're traveling to Mississippi State. The Tennessee running back situation is always rough. They run 3 guys out there and start Thomas, Bishop, and Peyton Lewis. But, they're in a good spot as well. It's just tough to guess which one is going to do the damage. But I do like Bothwell on the other side as well. So, Aguilar is a tournament play. You're going to play him with a receiver or two just because he's going to get it done with a receiver or two. And all these guys play a ton in Brazel and Staley and even Mike Matthews.
Yeah, and you mentioned the pace of this Tennessee team. I mean, I know a lot of people probably have already watched Tennessee take on that Georgia because that was a great game. But the amount of times that Tennessee just goes no huddle, doesn't allow the defense to substitute. I mean, that stuff does add up over the course of a game. It can be an extra 10, 15, 20 plays even, depending on how fast they're going. You'll have defenses like Georgia who faked injuries to try and slow them down, which they'll go unpunished, obviously. But, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the pace is something that, should be a factor. It's the reason why it has a high total. And Big T, I mean, Brazel looked like A.J. Green, if you want to throwback. Man, he looked like A.J. Green against Georgia. It was kind of crazy. And I got nothing but respect for that at under 6K. I can definitely find myself playing him tomorrow.
Yeah, look, and Aguilar looked good in that game too. We talked about that on this show too, where some of these guys from Tennessee were a little undervalued, and it looks awesome here. And I know this doesn't mean anything to anybody, but it's a late game, 4:15. The ownership's got to be a little bit lower because of that, just way later. And then what's better than when this game just totally shoots out and every other game's done and you're just skyrocketing up the leaderboard because of what Bruce said. This game has the best tempo of the whole slate. You got a 63 total. You got 2 teams that I think will be able to score on each other. You got the pace of Tennessee. You got how good Aguilar's looked with his price being too high too. Like, I don't think he's going to get much ownership. Brazel just looks like a beast. You can throw someone else in there too. There's a bunch of options, Staley and Matthews. Who else? Really just those guys for me, those 3. But the other side too, I mean, you have guys you can go to. And I think Chapin stinks, but his price is cheap, really cheap at 6,600. You have Brennan Thompson looks good. Anthony Evans looks good. I think this game is the OG, like, game stack, just hammer it. And not many of these plays, I'm looking at like the top projected plays. Not many plays from this game are like considered the best plays. But what happens when this game just nukes? I mean, you win all the money. So I love this game. I'm glad Bruce said some of the stuff he said because it nudged me even more. Sign me up. Brazel might be the best play of the slate at receiver. I think this price is crazy cheap. So sign me up.
I like it. All right. Completely agree with you guys there. Now, for the sake of the show, you know what we got to do? We got to get our plays of the day in. Last week went really well. This week we're going to try and do the same, much of the same, I should say. You guys can do a stack if you want, or you can do an individual play. Obviously, we try and avoid the chalk on these. I don't have to ever worry about it with you two, though. That is more for my sake, as I should be the one avoiding the chalk. Bruce, I see your eyes darting around a little bit, so I'll stall. I'll give you a little bit of extra time, and I'll say that Ben Griffin has been selling this match. I mean, my goodness, he did get that birdie on that par 5, but this has been killing me, man.
I've been trying to sweat it. He's been killing me too. And Bryson got stuck with friggin' JT, who stunk earlier too. It's been frustrating.
It is absolutely.
They're still in it though. They're not dead yet. We'll get off the show. We'll bring the extra mojo.
100%. Big T, who's your play of the day tomorrow?
Man. So some of the plays I was trying to, because I still want to find something a little bit lower owned for the people. Who was I?
Love Coleman.
I like him. I don't want him to be my play of the day though, Coleman. I do think he's like a nuke spot. I don't want it to be him. I was trying to, if Bruce has one, go to him, because I'm trying to find a better one.
Yeah, Bruce's eyes, they're locked in. They're fixated on one guy. Who is it, Bruce?
Man, I'm gonna go with Concepcion. I think he's the McAllister play of the day. He's gonna be lower than 5% owned, and it's a good spot for him as well. It's a good spot for Craver, but KC is also a stud receiver. Is going to get a lot of time too. So he's going to be unowned, and that's kind of fun.
I love it. That's exactly the type of spot that you were talking about. Craver is going to be one of the highest owned guys on the slate, just like Dwyer was last week. And you swoop in with a little McAllister, a Concepcion in this case, and hope to completely gain the leverage on the field there. And you can also double stack it, as Big T was mentioning earlier. Big T, you ready for me?
I'm annoyed because I had a guy and I didn't write it down, and now I forget who it is, and I can't find it under pressure here. So
no worries.
I'm going to go back anyways, and I love Illinois. I love picking on USC. No one thinks I'll do it, but I'm going to go with my boy Altmaier in this spot. I'm gonna go old Alty at 6,200. I'm pissed though because I had a guy. Actually, I can't give a quarterback like this as my play. Give me Coleman from not Coleman. Actually, give me both Colemans just to make it fun. They're both 6,900, and the Washington's the one I really want. Those are my two. I can't remember who the guy I said it on the freaking show though. I was like, they might be my play of the day. I can't remember who it was though.
I'm shocked it wasn't Brazel either. You got the Colemans there.
No, Brazel's too chalky, I think, though. Brazel's is he not too chalky?
I don't know if he'll stay that
12%.
Yeah.
No, he's only 12%. Okay.
Yeah.
I want Brazel then if he's only 12%.
I like how you just dance around 4 plays. A man of the people here. I mean, just an absolute man.
I like to get it dialed in. I didn't want to. I thought Brazel would be too chalky, but if he's not too chalky, then I definitely want him.
Yeah, 100%. I am going to go against the Notre Dame defense with mine. It is a quarterback, which, can be a little shaky, but I'm going to go Taylon Green. I think he puts up a masterpiece tomorrow against Notre Dame. Notre Dame's in do or die right now, and I think they just die. I just really do think that.
He dies.
Yeah, and Arkansas coming off that loss, who knows how they handle it, but I think Taylon Green comes in, puts up 35 fantasy points. You can stack him if you want. I don't feel the need too much because his rushing upside is what makes him so potent there at 9,100. Taylon Green will be my play of the day. You got Jonah Coleman, and then obviously Casey.
Out Thorsby.
I will definitely have a little bit of Thorsby tomorrow.
Bryson just missed by like an inch.
I know, the 45-footer or whatever. It was this much. God, you're 30 seconds behind me. I saw that during your play of the day. It's good stuff.
Oh, congratulations, Rubio. You got it faster than me. I'm
going to text you that the result of each hole ahead of time.
Hopefully it's good. That's how you win all those freaking bets.
Yeah, you gotta have a good feed, that's for sure. For Big T, for Bruce, and for we appreciate y'all for watching. Hopefully that one of us can, we hopefully see some RPS logos up top once again this week. Should be a good time. Everyone have a great rest of y'all's day and have a good weekend. Bye-bye.